If you have only a few routers, static routing might work just fine for your network instead of routing protocols such as EIGRP. Routing protocols introduce overhead, which eats up the bandwidth. If you decide to use static routing, make sure to establish static routes on all routers that point to every non-connected network in the LAN. Use the iproute command. Configure either an interface or a next hop IP address, or both. For an interface, use the outgoing interface on this router. Next hop requires the address of the neighboring router on the interface. AD is optional. It can be used to establish floating static route. Even if you use a routing protocol, you may want to use a static route in case of route redundancy. If you configure a static route with an AD greater than the routing protocol AD, the static route will be used as a backup route. In the topology, if there is a link between RTR2 F10 and RTR4, the command shown on the slide would create a route that can be used if the link between RTR3 and RTR4 fails. The static route would not be used beforehand because the AD of 220 is greater than the Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol, EIGRP, AD of 90. Note that this static route is also a default route. Let us discuss how to establish a default route. Now, we will review the two ways to establish a default route, the iproute command and the IP default network command. Let us discuss iproute command in greater detail. You can create a default route to the Internet. Configure the iproute command on the router that faces the Internet. Enter all zeros for the address as well as the mask. The default is often called a quad zero route. If a routing protocol is in effect, the route must be advertised with the network router configuration command. These commands provide a route from the LAN to the ISP. But in order for the Internet Service Provider, ISP, to find a route back to the LAN, Network Address Translation, NAT, needs to be configured in most cases. This is because most LAN devices are assigned private addresses, not public addresses that are routable over the Internet. Let us now learn the other command to create a default route, the IP default network command. In configuration mode, enter IP default network, then a classful network. Now each downstream router treats this router's route for the classful network as a default route. In the topology, the default route would be configured with the command shown. The network 25.0.0.0 is used because the command requires a classful network. The classful network with 25 in the first quartet is a Class A network, so it is /8. Let us now check your understanding of the topics covered in this lesson.